Welcome back to the Long War Abridged. Last time we had a mission in one of our bases where we had to defend against an alien attack, and that went okay. We also rooted out some spies, a couple of faceless were found and were taken down by a base's staff. And then finally we just had a disastrous mission where we lost most of our guys, achieving pretty much nothing, putting us in a very dangerous situation. After that, the next thing to come up was another one of these spy missions where some more faceless have been discovered over in our little base we have in Africa that I haven't really been to yet. There are 4 faceless versus the 2 we had last time, so this place is especially entrenched with enemy spies. So we've gone out with our team of local loyalists who are mostly just terrible, rankless, recruit-style soldiers to take out some enemies, and we start things off with an ambush. There are some guys on the other side of this hut. We kill one instantly, but unfortunately the overwatching goes really badly, and we don't manage to do very much to the other 2. That means they get a turn to act against us, but as it happens, they just moved around, they didn't attack, so we were free to take them out. However, when I sent someone around the back of the hut to just kill the enemy trooper at point blank range, it revealed the faceless who were nearby. Then I had to sit through a long animation as they gradually turned into faceless form. There were also a couple of actual Advent troops as well. So this means the guy on the other side of the hut is now very exposed to all these enemies, but at least we have a good position on the enemy. Or do we? We are unable to kill the guy by the hut, so now that guy is just totally screwed. Our guy, that is, to clarify. He is going to be outflanked right away when the enemy turn comes about, and indeed that enemy just kills him in one hit, something we failed to do against him. Our sniper up on the roof throws a grenade down to kill the enemy, and that's that. And then I'm just going to set up in this building and wait for the other enemies to get closer, because the building offers various bits of heavy cover which the road in front does not. And here come the faceless charging right at us. I expected here to see 4 faceless since it said there were 4, and there are 4 who have discovered us, but for whatever reason only 2 of them attack. The game does have things built into the code to reduce the amount of enemies that will attack you at once in various circumstances, especially if you've taken a casualty on a mission, so maybe that's why only 2 came at us at first. Did some damage to one of them with the sniper, then a grenade goes out, we get a high roll and kill one of the faceless, which I didn't even expect, so that is good. The other one is damaged, and we do have a chance to kill it with this shotgun attack, but we only get grazing damage, so it doesn't die. And the thing about faceless is if you don't kill them, they regenerate their health, which presents a major issue if your damage output isn't enough. Now in the next alien turn, the other 2 faceless start making their move. They're going to come over towards our right, where I do have one operative hiding out, trying to outflank the enemy's troops right now. And the faceless we didn't kill is now going to charge into melee range of the building, and that's going to be an issue because, as we all know, in XCOM melee attacks do go through walls, and instantly it gets a crit on one of the people inside. Nasty. Then an alien in the distance does some shooting and kills my operative out on the right, so we've just taken 2 casualties on top of the one we already took. We're pretty much screwed now because we are getting to the point when our damage output is very low, so we just can't kill the faceless. A lucky crit though kills the one that's closest to us. That was pretty nice. I throw out a grenade to kill the trooper who is hiding behind that lamppost there, and aside from that all we can do is wait and see what the faceless do, and as you might expect, they just run right at us. They weren't able to make an attack this turn, but they're all over us, and this is going to be problematic, since not only can we barely kill them, we can barely do enough damage to kill one, we don't have ammunition in the sniper rifle right now, and running away isn't very viable because the faceless can run just as far as you can. So I ended up just standing on the roof after flashbanging them and seeing what happens. What happened was that, curiously enough, the 2 faceless stood on either side of the sniper, and then one hit the other due to my sniper being missed, so that was quite nice. Then the shotgun guy comes up to the roof to join the party and crits one of the faceless, getting a 1-hit kill. That is very good. Suddenly it seemed like we had a chance to get out of this situation, but things then started to go bad. Firstly, there's still a guy out there who I basically forgot about. He can now shoot at me since we're not in cover, and the surviving faceless just one-shots the shotgun guy. So that's the end of that. He was our only hope, really. The sniper rifle woman runs off, then apparently gets missed by that faceless attack, but the attack blew up the car she was hiding beside, and that killed her. Very curious. Just means we've completely failed the mission. Everybody in the African base is dead, so now it's just not doing anything and we've effectively abandoned it. Right after that though, we're going instantly into another mission. We've got a mission to grab an engineer, always useful for speeding up our progress through the game, which we dearly need, so let's see what we can do. It was a no concealment mission, although Nobuna started with concealment anyway, and threw it away after the very first move because we accidentally ended up in a position outflanked by these 3 sectoids on top of a building. So now we're fighting them. We start things off with a grenade, and I had high hopes for this because that sectoid there was next to a car. If the car exploded, it would probably have got the kill. However, sometimes the cars explode the turn after you do the damage, so in this case, we don't kill the sectoid, very annoying. Now we've got a new guy here, Charlemagne. I think this is his first featured mission. He moves up and also uses a grenade to damage one of the other sectoids inside the building. Unfortunately, no cover was destroyed by that. Montgomery moves up the side of the building for a great outflanking position with 3 outflanking shots. We take the best one and kill the sectoid near the car. That was all we could achieve this turn in terms of damage. So time to see what the sectoids do to us. First, a mech appears off to our left, wandering into the fight. That's annoying, but it appears to be the only thing in its pod. There are no troops with it, so it is just the mech. That's not so bad. A sectoid inside the building makes a move and then uses a psychic attack on Nobuna. It's a disorientation one, so that's not so bad, she's just debuffed. The main issue is that Nobuna is actually outflanked, and the other sectoid does actually take advantage of that. We're pretty lucky here though, because while the sectoid got a critical hit, it somehow only did 5 damage in total. It must have been a very low damage roll, but with a critical hit. So Nobuna survives with 1 health. We got away with that. Now Montgomery goes inside the building and can point blank this sectoid. Not guaranteed to kill, but with the crit we can kill, and we do luckily get the crit, so that's that. I wanted to use Nobuna to run in and sword the other sectoid, but she can't sword while she's in the disorientated state, so she's kind of just stuck there. Instead I moved Roosevelt up just next to Nobuna, hoping to face off against the mech, but this was an enormous mistake as it turns out, because that tiny move draws in like 5 or 6 more guys who are up on that roof, so now we've got quite a few enemies with a good firing position on us to deal with. Rommel towards the back does a no-nonsense attack using hail of bullets to kill that last sectoid. I had South Susan use Haywire protocol to try and shut down the mech, but we failed, and that causes the mech to become more powerful in an annoying twist. Somehow we hacked it to have better stats. That was all we could achieve then. Time to see what the aliens have for us. The mech starts coming towards us. Luckily it doesn't move to an outflanking position, and it doesn't make an attack, it just suppresses Roosevelt there, so that's fine, she probably can't move from that position anyway. But then all the guys in and around that building start going after Roosevelt. An officer makes her mark, so she's more likely to get hit, and then the shooting starts. She is in heavy cover, but some of these shots have really good angles on that cover, so it's not going to be applying the full cover bonus. Luckily, we're lucky, because the enemy keep firing, but are unable to get that damage. They must be feeling extremely frustrated. I'm guessing all these shots are something like 30% shots that they're taking, because you get 60% from heavy cover, but the mark will reduce that by 10 to 20 or something, and the good angle will reduce it by probably the same amount again. Anyway, that was all the enemy could achieve. 2 damage on Roosevelt after all their shooting. Now it's time for us to fight back. A grenade gets rid of the suppression and removes some armor on the mech. Now Roosevelt is in a perfect position to shoot at the mech, so we do just that, and the mech is killed. That's good stuff. However, no one else was able to attack the enemies, so we have to take another round of Roosevelt just being shot at. She gets hit, but it's a graze, doing only 1 damage. Then she gets hit again, but it's another graze, so she only takes 2 damage. The chance of being grazed, I think, is about 10%, so we're really getting away with it here. An enemy moves up and misses an overwatch, or dodges an overwatch, then South Susan just does another overwatch and kills someone off to the left. More shooting hits Roosevelt for 1 damage with a graze. This is incredible luck. I'm sure the game manipulates your luck, so the real percentage of this happening is unknown. And then she gets grazed yet again by more shooting. This time it's just too much. All that grazing damage together does finish her off. Although she's not dead, she is only bleeding out, so we can save her from this. First we need to pull out all the stops to clear up the situation. And by pull out all the stops, I mean pull out all the grenades. We're going to start blowing up those troops because there are 3 troops who are kind of close to each other. 1 grenade kills 1, another grenade can hit the other 2, killing the guy who was damaged by the first one. And then Nabuna, returning from debuff land, is able to make a throw to get that third kill. So with 3 grenades, we've cleared the situation up quite a bit. That left just one enemy still alive who didn't achieve anything in his turn, so Nabuna then ran up and did a sword attack to finish things off. So there we go, we've taken out the entire pod very rapidly, and now South Susan was able to use a medkit to stabilise Roosevelt, stopping her from bleeding out. The problem we have is that this is a fixed extraction mission, so we can't call the Sky Ranger here to get rid of her. We have to carry her across the map, so Charlemagne here will be tasked with doing that and trying not to die in the process. We need to push onto the other side of the building to our forward and right. However, the enemy did reinforce behind us while we were doing that, so that's going to be an annoying harrying force. There is the option though of ignoring them, we can just push towards the extraction point. Then we have this issue, the enemy are defending the extraction point. Well, not quite, the extraction point is on the roof of this building, and there are 4 more enemies now coming into the ground floor of the building, who may prevent us from escaping. We do get some good overwatch here though. First 5 points of damage onto the sectoid, then South Susan gets to shoot again because of her weird overwatch perk, almost killing that gunner. Then Rommel steps up to the plate and definitely kills the gunner. So that's good, 1 less enemy and the sectoid's in trouble already. Charlemagne shoots a flashbang backwards after putting Roosevelt down, so those guys pursuing are now going to be less effective and I'll go back to ignoring them. Now South Susan goes forward and immediately outflanks and kills the sectoid. The guys down there are quite easy to outflank because of their bad cover, so Rommel also outflanks and gets a kill on another one. That left 2 more I think outside, out the back of the building. I couldn't attack them, but I was able to do this trick throw with a flashbang. It says that it only disoriented one of them, but I think it did disorient both. You'll see here the pop-up appears on both of them. So basically they're debuffed and we can expect less damage. That means all the aliens to the front and back have the disorientation. And this apparently pays off because while they all make attacks and move around and go into Overwatch and things, nothing is actually achieved by the enemy. So that's great news, we can carry on. For the guys in the distance, we can kill them quite easily. First, Nabuna just slashes 1, she's immune to Overwatch, so no problems there. I think the Overwatch already went off against Montgomery and missed anyway by this point. As you can see, Montgomery's just sitting here. I moved her up with run and gun, then killed the other one second for some reason. Then I happened to use hail of bullets to kill one of the guys behind us since the opportunity arose, but I didn't bother waiting around to kill the other guy because we don't need to, and as I recall you don't really get experience for killing reinforcements as well. So we all just went to the extraction point, we didn't see anything else of the other guy who was still back there somewhere. And there we have it, we've got the engineer and we've got out with no deaths but 2 serious wounds here. Both Roosevelt and Nabuna are going to be out of the game for a while after all that. Another mission comes up which gives us the chance to get an extra resistance contact. That means we can have another base somewhere, so that's a very valuable reward. Therefore I do send a squad to start infiltrating on that one. And then another mission becomes available. I went for as much infiltration as possible on this one. It's a smash and grab, trying to make it nice and easy by getting tons of infiltration. We didn't have concealment again on this mission, so we quickly encountered resistance, started moving towards this big building in the distance where all the crates are held, and there was a mech with a bunch of guys in this road, so no just mech on their own this time unfortunately. We couldn't do all that much against these guys because most of our people are out of position, but we set up in and around these ruins ready to fight. One attack we could do was a shot from artillery up on the roof that kills one of the enemies and takes some armor and health off of the mech. Then in the alien turn the mech moves and John Wick pops out with a laser rifle and gets a kill there. That was pretty good. Nuke, who spotted these enemies in the first place, somehow gets shot in full cover, luckily only taking 1 damage, so we got away with that. The next shot doesn't hit, as you might expect, that's more like it. Anyway, so now it's time for our turn again, and Attili is up front and centre with another outflanking shot on that Advent Engineer. No crit though, so we don't get the kill unfortunately. Again, that actually turned out to be it. I couldn't make any more attacks this turn because the enemy are all slightly too far away. Your weapon's range isn't enough to get any good chance of hitting, especially in the Long War 2, where attacks at range are massively debuffed for the player only. So we need to get close to them. Nuke braved some Overwatch to get closer. Wick did another great Overwatch and killed a moving enemy. Then another Overwatch hit is made and we kill another one, suddenly leaving us with only 1 foe to kill. It's just a regular trooper with 3 health, so Nuke goes over and gets the kill. He has lightning reflexes, so the Overwatch on the enemies doesn't matter for him. So we start moving towards the Advent building. Inside though, there are 2 enemies. However, one enemy is an officer, and that's very interesting because Nuke in this mission is carrying the Skulljack. That means we have a chance to do the story objective. We want to hack into an officer's network in some way to find weaknesses in the alien system as part of our general project to defeat the aliens overall. This means we need to avoid killing the officer, so everyone needs to go on to hunker down instead of Overwatch as we start moving up towards the alien building. Wilma here, up on the roof, has achieved nothing in this mission, and will continue to do so as she sits there trying to get decent line of sight and missing all of her shots. Now, really annoyingly, John Wick was on Overwatch because of his perk where he always goes onto Overwatch automatically if he doesn't attack after moving, something like that. Fortunately for us, he missed that Overwatch shot, so the officer survives. That officer, and the troop actually, somehow hit Nuke. He's in heavy cover there. He got grazed again both times. I don't know what's up with both being hit while in heavy cover and only being grazed, but it's happening a lot to us in this particular episode. Anyway, Nuke can now run up to a position where next turn he'll be able to use the Skulljack. You need to be in melee range to do it. If I had run and gun I could do it now, but it's still on its cooldown from when I used it previously. Anyway, I used a grenade to take out the Advent troop, so it's just the officer there, and everyone else just needs to close their eyes and try not to shoot the guy. We used a flash to disorient the officer. That not only protects Nuke, he's less likely to get shot in the face, but it means the officer is less likely to move away because it reduces movement range. And actually the officer didn't do anything during his turn, it just stood there, not even going on to Overwatch, so we can hack it easily. It says there's only a 70% chance of this hack working or hitting, but as far as I know, that's a lie. I think it does always work. And you have a 100% chance to actually make the hack once you're in, so we do that. And now we've completed the story objective. This has the fun side effect of killing the officer, but the downside, that when you access the network, it gets the aliens' attention and they teleport in this thing, a codex. The scientist at some point mentions that they're from another dimension, so I don't know where he came up with that, but it's some sort of mysterious ethereal being. I tried to move Bagration to get an outflanking shot on it to kill it, but this brought in 3 more enemies, annoyingly. Getting a crit right away on the codex would be great, because it turns into 2 enemies after you attack it, so if you either kill it with your first attack or get it to low health with your first attack, that's ideal. However here, while Bagration has the chance to do that, he'll also definitely be outflanked by the enemy. In fact, he's outflanked right now, so I had to use his turn just moving away to get into some cover. I did get a Tilly to shoot a grenade at the codex. I thought it might destroy that cactus, but it's made of sterner stuff apparently. And this indeed causes the codex to duplicate. However, I didn't realise it actually halves their health as well. Maybe that's a Long War specific thing. I thought it created 2 codexes on the health that it had after the attack, but actually it halves it again, so they're both nearly dead now. Then Belisarius does his first thing in this mission and gets a great shot on a trooper in the distance, a low chance to hit shot, or a not particularly high chance to hit shot, and he gets the crit. One of the codexes teleports down here next to Wick, but Wick is on the ball. He immediately kills it with Overwatch. He's having a great mission. The other codex moves over towards Bagration. Now it uses its Psi Bomb ability, I can't remember what it's called. A big purple thing appears. This strips off your ammunition, and next turn it explodes with a load of damage. So now Bagration has to use one action running away and another action reloading, and effectively won't be able to do anything. Still, Nuke runs and guns into the scene and can immediately kill one of the enemies, so that's making a bit of progress for us. More important though is to kill the codex, because I think this is also a story objective in some way. You need to pick up its brain or something, some drop that it gives you, and Tilly gets a very technical outflanking shot and gets the hit, so there we are. With that sorted, it was just that one enemy sitting there, so he was easy enough. However, 2 more enemies then appeared during the alien turn, including a Muton, a new species of enemy, the upgrade of Advent troops, the next class up. They do more damage and can take more damage, except John Wick, once again carrying the entire world population on his shoulders, crits the Muton with an Overwatch and just kills it instantly before it does anything. Now we're talking. Nuke kills the remaining enemy near where Bagration was. This left just a sectoid in the building, damaged it a bit with a grenade, and then Wick eventually went in and just shotgunned it in the face with no further mishaps. With that done, we could spend ages just grabbing all of the resources and getting out of there, and the mission came to a successful end. This mission was entirely credited to Wick. We would have done much worse if he hadn't kept hitting those Overwatch shots, so special thanks to him. Advent complete a dark event that makes recruiting new guys harder for us or more expensive, which could be an issue because we increasingly need new guys since we have taken some casualties. Still, we've got other stuff to spend money on right now. We finally invented the first armor upgrade, and like with the weapons upgrade, it's disappointing. You don't get your squad with upgraded armor, you have to buy sets of armor for each squad member individually, and it's relatively expensive. We can get like 2 or 3 max, and if we get that, we then can't get weapons or buildings or progress in the game. So yes, our lack of supplies means this doesn't really amount to anything, but I did buy a couple. I think we quite desperately need this armor at this stage in the game, because we are at a point when our party members can just be randomly one-hit killed, so having the armor gives you 1 point of armor, meaning everything does 1 less damage, and it gives you 3 extra health, so you can take more damage. And here I'm going to give one of the few sets I did make to John Wick, since he's such a hero. We're going to try and keep him alive for more of his exploits, and a couple of other lucky members will get the armor. But overall our squad's power remains actually pretty close to where it was at the start of the game, to be honest, even with the enemies still getting stronger and stronger. They've completed another dark event here that gives them an added ability to dodge, which I think in the parlance of this mod means your attacks are more likely to graze instead of doing full damage. Now a mission comes up where we need to get that resistance contact, but the enemy activity is light to moderate. I think before we've done extremely light, very light, and maybe even light, but light moderate is a new high for enemy activity, so this could be the hardest mission yet. And having done the mission, and knowing what light moderate actually means, well, tune in next time for a very entertaining fight indeed.